Welcome to the Neel 51. We have January 2020 and I'm boarding now. I'm going to do a little walkthrough of this amazing boat. This is Eric working hard. I'll see you later. Steering position, sun pad. This is a single-hander's dream. Yet it has capacities that 70 or 80 footers have. Beautiful day here in La Rochelle. We're going to do a little walkthrough of this boat today. This is the gigantic saloon, or as Eric calls it, the Cockloon. Eric is Eric Bruneel, of course. He's the founder of Neel Trimarans. And I'm Gregor Tarjan, founder and owner of the company Aeroyacht. I'm a dealer for Neel Trimarans in America, headquartered in New York, and we also have a base in Florida. This is the outside and inside space that can be completely closed off by a 3-position sliding door here. So there's various positions to this door, whereby one of the positions encloses the entire area and leaves an opening here, a door, so that will be the bad weather position. So here we can you can see the area where a TV would go, lots of locker space. This is a fold-out table. You could probably sleep at least 3 people on this giant couch. It's nearly 10 feet by 10 feet wide. This is a chef's galley. It is circular shaped with an entrance right here. Oven, 4-burner stove, microwave, refrigeration, freezer, garbage. Very smart. On some boats, actually, I've seen 2 of these next to each other. One is for the garbage and one is for biological waste that you can throw directly into the water, if it's over the bridge deck, of course. Now we're actually over the hull, one of the hulls, so that wouldn't work. Here you have 2 giant refrigerator freezers. You can put a couple of turkeys in there, well, fruits and vegetables. There's another sliding freezer door here, lots of locker space. And of course, for the chef, you have 360 degrees views. The nav station, someone can be navigating or steering the boat in bad weather. This is our master stateroom. Yeah, the Neel 51. It's quite an amazing boat, what Eric Bruneel and his team have created here. So now we're gonna move into the navigation area. This is a dream for a navigator and even a lone sailor. You have a full featured navigation suite here with a chart plotter, with your repeater, autopilot control. You have your radio, VHF, everything here. Yet I'm sitting completely normal in this chair and I have perfect view onto the front of the boat, the sides, and even to the starboard side. Now we're gonna walk into the owner's suite, or owner's stateroom. Very unique for a multi-hull of this size, or any size under, I would say 70 feet, is that you have a a stateroom that's on the main deck. So you live and sleep on the top level. You have fantastic sea views here. Unfortunately, today we're looking at a building, but imagine a blue lagoon, palm trees, and you look out, waking up. This is the owner's bathroom, the head compartment, and shower sink area. Of course, this can be closed off by a sliding door. So this was the main deck of the Neel 51. We will now go into the Forepeak stateroom. Forepeak is really an understatement here, because it's a really very large guest cabin that we have here on the Neel 51. With its own sink, shower compartment, and of course there's a head hidden back here. So this is the Forepeak of the 51 Neel Trimaran, with where I'm basically presenting the forward stateroom, which has an ensuite head compartment. Here we're walking up again onto the main deck area. This is pretty nice here. You can see the clean installation, the 12-volt panel and the 220 panel. Of course, for a US boat, this would be a 110 panel. The electrical breakers and installation, fuel and water tank gauges. There's some carbon construction on this boat, especially, as I was told by Eric just now, on the main beam here, which supports the main sheet and has a very large opening here. I would estimate this opening to be probably close to 16 feet. So this is the size of a super yacht. Yet you can enjoy this area in the rain, because of course we have it fully covered here by a rigid bimini that can be fully enclosed as well. Okay, let's walk in one of the pontoons, or amas as we call it, of the Neel 51 Trimaran. This could be considered one of the guest suites. This entire hull, just almost on a 45-foot catamaran, would be a suite for a guest couple. This could be even a berth, another berth for a child or another person. This is about 7 feet long here, and perfect sea views here through very long Lexan windows. And this is looking forward now to the ensuite head and stateroom, shower and head compartment. Very clean installation, modern materials. This is your shower head compartment with the sump right underneath here. Now we're going to walk to the other side, across the stateroom. And film the other side. Basically, it's a carbon copy of the port side, where you have a stateroom with a slightly different arrangement, but you have an ensuite head shower compartment. This is looking forward, and looking aft, you have the double berth, where possibly a third person or child could sleep inboard on this little ledge right here. On this side, it's a little shorter because of the companionway has been moved slightly forward. So this probably is only 5 feet long. Of course, you have your emergency re-entry hatches on both sides. On the Neel 51, one of the unique features, just like in all the Neel trimarans, is the usage of space and weight distribution. We have all the weight centered in the boat, so the heavy items, generator, air conditioner, fuel tanks, water tanks, engine, are all basically hidden underneath. We call it here the cave or the basement. How many boats do you know under 100 feet or 200 feet that have a basement? So this basically is the engine room and the machinery room of the Neel 51 Trimaran. It is a pretty amazing space where everything is low down where you want it and centered. Batteries, water heater right here on the inboard side. So it's probably worth going down here because very few people are aware of the fact that we have this on a 51 foot multi-hull that can travel in excess of 20 knots in the right conditions. That's the engine and machinery room of the Neel Trimaran. Beautiful installation. Everything is very easy to access and service. Here are your house batteries, your engine starting batteries, your 24 volt panel. This is of course a 24 and 12 volt boat, and 220. You have your master volts, inverters and chargers here. You have your fuel tanks right here, exactly in the center of the boat, low down, exactly where you want it. This is your own end generator in its cocoon. This is a water maker, hot water heater, your strainers, this is one of the air conditioning systems. So all the valves, all the cabling and ducting is clearly marked, easy to get to. Just look at the attention to detail right here, where you have the plenums for the water distribution system. All the strainers for the desalination systems are easy to get to. Very clean installation. I'm very impressed. The electronics away from any, see, these are the black boxes for some of the electronics and repeaters. They're away from any humidity or moisture. Super easy to get to. And here, this is the engine compartment, a little fire port, super little details that make it worthwhile noting. This is your engine, a big Yanmar 60, I believe this is. Should be a light somewhere here. Yeah, it's up there. So this is your engine compartment. Also very easy to get to. Yeah, this is the basement or wine cellar or machinery engine room of the amazing Neel 51 Trimaran. We are now going to explore a little the cockpit and the steering position of the Neel 51 Trimaran, which is up here. So you have very nice communication between the helmsman and people down in this gigantic cockpit. The cockpit really can be considered also the saloon because you have such a big opening. So people sitting here in the cockpit can have communication with people inside. Very nice use of space. A lot of advantages of a catamaran. interpreting the space in a different way. This is your davit for the dinghy, which will be stored on the starboard side here between these two, between the armor and the main hull. Great swim platform. Of course, on this boat we are storing the dinghy on the chocks right here. There's another bathing ladder here. On the 65 Neel, you can actually store kayaks within the armors. Let's check out the steering position. It should be noted that on a boat like this, normally it's hydraulic steering, but all the Neel trimarans, except the 65, have Kevlar and cable steering. So it's mechanical steering, which gives you perfect feedback and control on the helm. This is a very nice feature, and very few people talk about that. So I'm sitting now on the 51, and I have a great view on the forward area of the boat. There's another 47 right here, Neel 47 right there. So these are sun pads, a little mini Flybridge where you can sit safely under the boom. It keeps the Flybridge low, which I like. It does a lot for the profile and for windage and for performance of this boat. So what should be noted on the steering position is that you really have this cockpit has two places. It has a forward area and a rear area. The rear area you basically sit or stand. Two and a half people really could sit here next to each other, where you steer the boat, navigate, control the autopilot right here, repeater, compass, the chain, counter, and windlass control, engine controls, and of course the boats. All boats have bow thrusters, so you can negate the argument that catamarans can be parked easier, because parking this boat with a bow thruster is just as easy as on a catamaran. Just interpreting the same problem or issue in a different way. And then you have the forward position of this little mini steering, helming, sail control cockpit, where basically you access all the sail controls. You have 3 winches, all 3 are electric. You have them in 2-speed position, and all controls, basically furling lines, halyards, reefing lines, sheets, traveler controls, downholes, everything is controlled from right here. You can even control the dinghy lift system, which from right here, because there is a line running along the bottom of the boom through a pulley system whereby you can control the lifting of the dinghy. Especially this is down to 47 as well. So very smartly laid out. There can be a guy working right here, a lady, working the sails, and behind him or her we have the steering position. Just makes a lot of sense. Okay, let's explore the little Flybridge area on the 51. This is your sun pad. I'm standing on the 51 trimaran. Very large bench seating aft. Sorry, it's a little windy today in La Rochelle, France. Hopefully you can all hear me. So I'm sitting here, very relaxed, with my feet crossed on the 51. What a place to enjoy a sunset. The roof of the Neel 51 is relatively spacious, as you can see. I'm standing on it and doing a little 360. Here you have your solar panels, your track for the self-tacking trinquette or Solent jib. Some people have asked me, why do we have these flags there? Well, these are positioning flags, so the helmsman can actually gauge where the port bow bow is not visible freely from the steering position, so that helps us gauge where the boat is and where we can place it when parking. Here's the Flybridge steering position, which can be fully enclosed, of course. All the lines lead to the helm station. Reefing, raising sails, tacking, jibing can all be done from one position. Solar panels, you can probably power refrigeration and freezing just from the solar panels. Probably also the avionics and autopilot. This is the sail plan. Very simple and efficient sail plan. You have a twin head sail rig. We could also call it a cutter rig. So for any wind condition, you can easily dial in the power of the boat. That's a self-tacking jib and your large Genoa, and of course on the bowsprit you could probably tack on a asymmetric or a code 0. All the hardware, all the attention to detail is amazing, because everything is there are very few shackles. All the lines are Dyneema, pre-stretched. Everything is lash and spectrum. So to keep the weight light, and maybe people should also know that Eric was a very accomplished ocean racer, winning the Fastnet race. Came in second on the Route du Rhum, and on the single-handed transatlantic race on one of his earlier trimarans. So there's a lot of trickle-down technology and wisdom that we have and can enjoy on the 51 Neel. But yet it's a cruising boat. It's a very fast, very safe, efficient cruising machine. So some people have asked me, where are the cockpit lockers on the Neel 51? Since there are none to be found underneath the cockpit bench seating. A little disappointing, but no. Wait, before you walk away, let's look what's under here. Here we have a space which could probably house, I would say, 5 to 8 people. This is a nice size locker. So our disappointment was premature. So we have, of course, this on both sides. These are the outside lockers where you can probably place dive equipment, bicycles, water toys, kayaks, anything. And we have them on both sides. So very, very impressive use of space. This is basically the starboard cockpit locker, right behind the suite, the guest suite on the starboard side. Of course, we have the same thing on the port side. Let's walk over there just to make sure it's there. I'm walking across the cockpit now. Very nice, very smart walkway. Little attention to detail. Even the cleat has a machined Neel sign in it. Here we open the port side locker. Very clean installation with stairs leading down. Here, in this case, we have a sail, probably the Jenniker, and this is the space that you can use. My recommendation is don't overload these boats. They are fast and they are very comfortable, and you have tons of space to put stuff in it, but don't overdo it. Multi-hulls are one of the Achilles heels of multi-hulls are you don't want to put too much weight on them, because then the percentage of performance loss is larger than on a monohull. But of course, you're still passing them at 15 knots. Yeah. This is again the steering position, of course, which you can access from one of the side decks So it can be accessed from 3 areas: from the mini Flybridge, from the cockpit through these stairs right here, or through the side decks. Very smartly done. So we're walking here forward on the Neel 51. Great handhold in heavy weather. We have a very safe passageway. There are no shrouds to get into the flow clear. Opening port. That's probably for the master stable. This is the foredeck. Great netting. It's all flat. Shot of the 47 in front of us, which just won the ARC, and the I think for the 3rd time Neel has won the Atlantic Rally for Cruisers. And right here we are on the 51 Neel. Plumb bow, slightly reverse, stem. Smart, very smart way of deploying the anchor. It's out of the way. Yes, the weight is a little far forward, but I think the advantage of having it in that position maybe outweighs the disadvantage of a heavy piece of equipment sitting on the bow. But I guess in heavy weather or in really rough going or offshore, we could remove the anchor if that, or racing, I guess one could do that as well. Once again, a shot of the sail plan. A twin head sail, I would call it a cutter rig, and 7/8 rig where the forestay does not go all the way to the tip of the mast. You have twin shroud setup, so you can really tighten that forestay and sail very efficiently with this boat. Let's try to film through the salon windows. I'm not sure if you can see the inside here. Yeah, we can see something. This is basically the salon. Okay, here we're gonna go walk by the beautiful Neel 51. Talk a little about the design of the boat. It's a boat that's 51 foot long, 29 and change wide. I think it's 29 foot 8 inches. It's a 14-ton boat average. So, you know, by the time you're loading the boat, probably more like 15.5 to 16 tons, which is relatively light for such a mass of fiberglass and carbon. The nice thing is, or let's say the interesting thing about the boat is that you have very efficient hulls, very narrow hulls, which let the boat sail efficiently. You can see this on the 47. The port armor is just kissing the water here. So there's very little wetted surface. The prismatic coefficient, basically what that means, the prismatic coefficient of this boat is very low, meaning the area that the underwater hull shape takes in a rectangle is little. So there's very little wetted surface when the boat actually heels, which all translates into performance and also, which many people don't realize, in comfort. The motion of the boat is much softer than that of a catamaran. The catamaran has a very, if you look at the catamaran way back there in the distance, that looks like a 47 Fontaine Pajot. The boat sits in the water with both hulls, meaning there's a lot of resistance when the boat pitches, when it goes up and down in wave motion, which means there is a reaction to every reaction. There is a counter force, and that you feel in your stomach. A Neel or a Trimaran or even multihull has a much gentler, softer impact into the sea. So the motion is slower and more predictable. this is a huge boat. You can see the aft sections of the boat, how pointy they are. You can see the port armor over there, not even touching the water, almost halfway through the length of the boat. All the weights are centered, which contributes a lot to fast sailing and gentle motion. The boat heels maximum of 5 to 10 degrees, so you get a little feedback when you sail. You know when to reef, you know when you have too much sail area up. And reefing, of course, as we discussed before, can all be done from the safety of the cockpit. You have twin head sails, so you can easily dial in the power that you need for this boat. Yeah, won a lot of prizes. Won 3 transatlantic races. The Neel 51 and the 47 are some smartly designed packages for the cruising sailor. A great alternative to catamarans and monohulls. Really, I would say almost the best of both worlds without sounding too cliche. You have the speed of a racing multi-hull or racing monohull. You have the feedback of a racing monohull because you have cable steering. You have a little heel that tells you, that signals you what the boat is doing. You can feel the rudders, but yet you have the space of a giant catamaran, maybe more even, because you can use the hulls. You have 3 hulls, and what a lot of people don't realize is that it's also, I think, a safer boat. If you puncture one of the hulls in a catamaran or in a monohull, you are in serious trouble. On this boat, you puncture one hull and you have 2 other ones to float on. So for me, it's also probably one of the safest platforms out there to cross oceans in. So in combination with good space, gentle motion, fantastic performance and safety, it's as good as it gets for a sailboat.